Welcome back. This is another week of me writing and doing voiceovers of my writing and you watching and enjoying. This week we're just gonna work on Flatwork. We've been working really hard on getting Happy to engage his hind end and stretch, and a lot of that's coming from asking for more forward, and a lot of that's coming from fixing his shoulder diving issue, and a lot of things have happened over the last, I guess, week and a half, because I didn't actually put a writing vlog out last week, so maybe even 2 weeks. But we're gonna work a lot on that today, and I'm hoping that the Pivo will work. I have to video us indoors since it's been really wet here. It's not like super rainy, but it's been foggy and wet. I'm just looking at Happy out there pinning his ears at the stall cleaner. So we can't ride outside, can't do any jumping. So we have to ride indoor, and I'm hoping that the Pivo does a good job. It did a pretty okay job yesterday for my lesson. So we're working on getting Happy to be more forward, and forward for Happy gives him anxiety. So we're just asking him for forward no matter what. And then once we get forward, we're asking him to be straight and to stop dropping his shoulder, because that's his other way of protecting himself from going forward and being big with his movements. So yesterday we worked a lot on that, and I have some clips at the trot and canter that I'll put in here. And then we also, I guess that's actually all we've really been working on. So just kind of getting him forward, getting him going, and also realizing that I'm really rigid and against him when I ride. So it's also been a lot of me learning to follow and learning to be a little more loose with everything, because we've realized now too that Happy's very sensitive to anything, any movement in the seat or anything. And so it's been really educational the past couple of weeks with him. So even like slight shifts in my weight, he's like totally there and like changes his balance and everything, and just didn't think that that's how he was. So I have some clips that I'll put in, and then maybe even some, I have like 1 or 2 pictures that I took from the video of him looking amazing. And then hopefully this video works well enough today so you can get a little bit of a taste of our Sunday ride today. And I'll go put the horses out so they can get a little bit of hay in their stomachs, and then I will tack up and ride. Thanks for watching. The same as last week, I'm just letting him explore the space and to look around and to try not to interfere too much. Here he wanted to go out of the gate and look at the tractor that's on the other side, but I just let him stop and look and let him hear, see, smell everything that he needs to smell, and let him express himself. I think that a lot of times I started my rides and just kind of pushed him right into working and didn't let him like explore the space and kind of see what's going on, and that wasn't very fair to him. So I'm really working hard on that now, to just kind of let it be meditative for me and to breathe and just let him walk around and see what's going on around the arena.
This past week too, I think we took his noseband off so that he'd be a little bit more relaxed in his mouth. And we also lowered the bit one hole just so that it wasn't so high up in his mouth. Stephanie typically rides all of her horses with a bit that lower and then also without a noseband until we have to go to a show, then we put it back on. It's not that any of our horses are opposed to nosebands or have issues with nosebands, it's just that we feel like they restrict some of the movement and relaxation in their mouths that they could be getting even when they're on their loosest setting. So at home we typically practice without a noseband, and so that's why this week you don't see a noseband and why he, I feel like, looks a little bit more relaxed too. Asking for forward from him has gotten such lovely responses. Look at this trot. Now we only had like 3 or 4 strides of this before I feel like I screwed it up just a little bit, and also he lost some power because it's hard to maintain that when you don't normally trot that way, but oh my gosh, it was just so gorgeous. And it feels very weird under saddle because he actually really starts to lift with his front end, and I'm like, this feels so strange, but gosh, it's so gorgeous. I cannot wait until he finally can sustain that and just look that good most of the time when I'm riding him. I'm so excited for the changes that we've been seeing in him in the last couple weeks with this push to get more forward. I have been trying to be a little bit more loose with my body and a little bit more asking for a trot from my posts than from my legs. I know you can still see my legs moving rapidly as if they're kicking him every stride. This is something I'm working on so hard to stop doing. So my compromise for right now, when I can't get them to stop moving that way, is to just kind of push them forward and to try to not get them on his body as much when I am kicking every stride like that. But we've been working really hard on playing with like my thigh and getting more push from my posts than from my legs, and it's been helping a lot to just free up his back, I think, and allow him to do these faster pace gaits. Now, he still isn't through his back here, and it doesn't look as beautiful as that one trot we got a little bit ago in this video, but he's still pushing forward and getting more of a pace than I've ever felt him do. Here, I was correcting him because he really wanted to follow London that way, and I was trying to get him to keep turning his body around the corner as opposed to turning right and chasing London down the long side. I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing until he finally breaks into a canter here, which actually came as a shock because you'll see that I slammed into his back a little bit. But that's kind of the goal of this ride and the rides that I've done the last 2 weeks, is just to keep pushing whatever gait I'm in faster and faster and faster until he finally is like, okay, it's just easier for me to canter, or it's just easier for me to trot. So that's really kind of helped clear up some of this transition anxiety and like throwing his head that we have seen in the bottling up, and it's really been nice to have that. Also, I've been trying really hard in the past week to really feel him and to like move with his body as opposed to be against him, which goes against all of my prior show knowledge showing on the AQHA circuit. You never want to move your body riding in those classes that I showed in. But I'm trying really hard to go against what I've ridden like my whole life and just kind of relax and breathe into my hips and just let my body go with the motion of happy. And it actually has made his gaits look a lot at least his canter look a lot less rigid, I think. So down each long side of this arena, I'm asking him for as much trot as he can possibly give me. I kind of want that wonky front end trot that looks so beautiful earlier in the ride. And now I'm getting bracing from him, and he's pushing his shoulder to the inside. So I did a couple corrections of counter bending to see if that would kind of stop him. And it didn't really seem to fully get the message across to him. So I was like, okay, well, let's do this circle. And as soon as I come around this corner, I'm going to push him out of it. So I'm pushing, and you see he sucks back and drops his shoulder. And this is all the anxiety that he has about going forward. I'm sure there's an element of this that I am influencing, but I also know that Happy, I think, had some shoulder issues. His withers are actually pretty flat, so I'm assuming at some point in time he flipped over and crushed them. And so I'm wondering if he is fearful that there's going to be pain there, and that's why he braces and blocks through his shoulders. He clearly has no issues with his front end now, but it doesn't change the fact that if it was incredibly painful, then of course he's going to brace through his shoulders and try to protect them when I ask for more forward. Here we have him wanting to go towards London, and I think that that transition was nice, but I didn't really have his brain mentally ready for a transition. But we get it back and we start cantering again. So yeah, I feel like a lot of the bracing through his shoulders when I ask for more forward is just the anticipation of pain and the anticipation of a fight, and he doesn't want to do it, so he's just going to start the fight on his own. And so that's kind of like the walls that we're breaking down with him. And then I'm also realizing that I have anxiety with going forward, because when I first bought Happy, I fell off of him a lot because he spooked or he bolted. And so it's both of us have equal anxiety with going forward. So it's just something now that in the last 2 weeks we've really started to focus on and realize that it's more of a problem than we originally thought. I do think there's an element of this where he is also just not as balanced and strong as he should be. So he does fall a little bit and does need some help with that. So I do think that down the long side was not so much of his, I'm going to brace when you ask for forward, but literally he just felt like he was drifting. So I was kind of helping him there. That one I do think he pulled me a little bit towards London, but I was just helping him to stay straight. But this is the balance that I have with him. I either am balancing him to stay straight, and there's no negative feeling towards that, or I'm asking him for forward, he's getting anxious, he's starting a shoulder fight, I start to get annoyed that he's fighting with me, and I start to pull. So that's why you see here, I'm starting to just give him the rein, push my hands towards his head and nose so that he reaches down, and we do actually start to get some really nice forward, and then that just leads into this accidental canter transition that I wasn't even trying to canter at this point in time. I just was like, let's just get forward, and when the canter happened, I was like, all right, that's fine. I'm going to reward any type of forward I get from him, and no judgment. So our rides have been such a balance of like figuring out where we're fighting and where we're actually just miscommunicating. And I guess technically it's all miscommunication at a certain point, but it's been really an interesting couple weeks riding. And that's basically a wrap on this Flatwork ride that we did. I felt really good with what I got out of him at the end, and I've been trying to end our rides where we both feel pretty relaxed and chill, and I feel like that's where we ended. The Pivo is really having a seriously hard time deciding which horse to track, which is really fun. I'm sorry, this is kind of making me sick as well. I should probably not include this clip, but I'm just gonna keep it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I really am so thankful for everybody who has watched my videos, has commented, has engaged on my channel, so please keep that coming as much as you want. Thanks for watching.